Welcome to All Things Fun Hydrographics. In today's video, we're going to be back working on Project Bottomland Bateau. We're almost ready for paint, but we've got to get our prep work done first. Prep is always key with painting. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about prep work. We're going to show you some different methods. We're going to test a few. We're going to see which one that I used on this boat. Stick around, show you how we do it. So if you're new to the channel or you're unfamiliar with our Project Bottomland Bateau, I'll leave a link right up here where you can check out the playlist for this entire project. It'll take you all the way back to the very beginning while we're doing this project, all the steps that we've taken and the videos that we've done to get to where we are today. So just a quick heads up for everybody before we get started on the actual content of the video. I filmed this portion of the video many months ago, like back in the beginning of the summer of 2020. I had planned on doing this as one full video on prep and paint all in one. By the time I got done editing the prepping part, it was just way too long. And I know you guys don't like watching really long videos, so I decided to cut it up into two parts. But for this video, we're just gonna focus on prep. I will, at the end of the video, if you stick all the way around to the end, I will talk a little bit about paint that we tried and the little experiment that we did to see if it would work, and the giant epic fail that followed. So make sure you stick around to the end for that, and of course the bloopers. You don't want to miss those. They're freaking hilarious. So let's jump in our YouTube time machine real quick and go way back to the beginning of the summer in 2020 when I originally started prepping for the paint job on this boat.
So the first thing that we're going to need before we can paint our boat is something to cover the boat. I found this really cheap canopy on Amazon. It was like 160 bucks. I'll leave a link to it down in the description box below, but it's one of the cheapest ones I could find that actually had halfway decent quality. So our canopy is going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to help keep dust and dirt and debris from falling like out of these pine trees and landing in our fresh paint job. It's also going to give us some shade so that we don't have to worry about direct sunlight messing with the dry time on the paint. So before we can start on our new paint job for the boat, we've got to get all the old paint off first. So there's a ton of different ways that you can go about removing paint off the boat. I want to try the easy way first. We're going to use some chemical paint strippers. I've never tried any of these before. I don't have any affiliation with any of these products. So what we're going to do is we're going to try all four of these, see which one works best. And then once I figure that out, I'll go through and strip the rest of the paint off the boat. So here's our lineup of paint strippers that we're going to be trying out today. These first two are both made by Clean Strip. This first one is Quick Strip. It's just a regular paint stripper. The second one is what they call their premium line paint stripper. I don't know what the difference is, but we're going to try them both side by side. This next one over here is one that a lot of people swear by. It's Aircraft Paint Stripper. They took the old formula and have changed it, and they removed one compound out of it. It's called methyl chloride. So this is now non-methyl chloride version. From what I've heard, it does not work as good as the old version, but we're gonna give it a shot and see. And then this last one over here we're gonna try is called Citrus Strip. This is the one that you find everywhere. It's non-toxic, it's supposed to be great for the environment. We're gonna give it a shot and see how it works as well. So here's how I'm gonna test out these paint removers. I'm gonna tape off 4 equal sections on this side of the boat. I'm gonna apply each section with a different paint stripper. Then I'll go through and cover everything with this plastic drop cloth. We'll wait a couple hours, come back, and see how they work. All right, so it's been a few hours. I'm gonna go through and test each one with this little plastic paint scraper. This first one we're gonna be trying is the Quick Strip Fast Paint and Varnish Stripper. All right, so this stuff kind of worked. It took the first layer off, but not the under layers, but I don't know, not a whole lot, not super impressed. So let's move on to the next one. So this next one that we're testing out is the Clean Strip Premium Stripper. We're gonna see if it's any better. Looks like when I sprayed it, this one over here sprayed a little thicker, this one sprayed a little thinner. Also, you can tell it didn't quite stick to the plastic as good as I was hoping, but we'll give it a shot and see what happens. All right, so the premium stripper, not so premium. It got off even less paint than the original one. All right, let's move on to the aircraft stripper and see if it was any better. All right, so now we got the aircraft paint stripper. Let's give it a shot and see what happened. So all our aircraft paint stripper did was just dry on the surface. It didn't even hardly take any of the paint off. So another big waste of time. Hopefully Citrus Strip worked great because all the rest of these have sucked. So Citrus Strip was only slightly better than the aircraft remover, but it still sucks. So back to the drawing board. So yeah, paint strippers were kind of a giant epic fail. Now I'm not going to blame this completely on the paint strippers themselves. This boat had a lot of layers of paint, and what the paint stripper was doing is it would only kind of take off one layer at a time, but because the paint was so old, I'm not really sure what kind of paint it was. It just wasn't doing a fast enough job for me to be really worth my time and worth the money spent on the different kind of paint strippers. So that brings us to plan B, which is to sandblast the boat.
I do have a Harbor Freight sandblaster. It works pretty well. It's one of the 110-pound pressurized blasters. It does take a very, very large compressor to run. It uses a ton of air, but it does work really, really well for removing paint that's really thick, such as what we have on the John boat. The media I like to use in this particular sandblaster is the Tractor Supply, I believe it's called Black Diamond. It's a fine grit, it comes in a red and gray bag. It works really well for removing paint from aluminum at about anywhere between 50 and 80 PSI. I didn't have any issues, it wasn't pitting the aluminum at all. It's relatively inexpensive, it's about $9 a bag normal, but you can get it on sale sometimes if you got a coupon for about $7, $8, somewhere in that range. I think I went through a total of about 14, 15 bags to do this entire project. As far as time goes, it was much quicker to use the sandblaster. The actual time that I spent sandblasting was only maybe a couple of hours at the most. I spent most of my time trying to collect as much of the sandblast material that had fallen on the tarp underneath the boat and, filtering it out and putting it back in the sandblaster, refilling it. So once you fill it and you actually start blasting, you usually get, depending on the pressure, somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes of blast time before I had to stop and refill it. So the Harbor Freight sandblaster is not the most efficient tool for this particular job, but it's what I had, it worked, and the results were exactly what I needed. Welcome back to the present. It is October 2020 now. All the boat prep is done. It is ready to start painting. And against my better judgment, I was like, it's been like 75 degrees during the day. I'm just getting around like mid 60s at night. We'll go ahead and give it a shot. Paint the boat, see what happens. So we're going to get into a lot more detail when we actually talk about the paint video. I'll go through all of this epic fail and tell you all about it. But basically what I did is I picked a day where it was going to be like 75 during the day, and I think the low temperature that night was like 63, 64. Went ahead and put the primer on, went ahead and base coated it. Everything went fine. So it waited a couple days for everything to dry, went ahead and scuffed the boat up, got it ready to put the stencils on. I called my buddy Josh. He comes over. He's going to help me hold up the stencils on the side of the boat. So that way I didn't have to flip the boat over just to paint the sides and then flip it back over again to paint the inside. I just wanted to do it all in one shot. So my buddy Josh comes over. He's going to hold up the stencils for me so I can paint everything. Things were going to work out great. So there was two big issues that we ran into that just made this an absolute epic fail, and I've got to start all over now. The first issue was with the boat sides being, kind of at a steep downward angle like this, it was almost impossible to get the stencils to lay flat up against the boat without some type of adhesive. So what was happening is we would go in and do a little painting, it would blow up underneath the stencils and just had overspray everywhere. It looked like absolute crap. And against my better judgment, I was like, well, let's just keep going and see what happens. So as we continued to paint the boat, the air temperature just kept dropping a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more until it got to the point to where it was like in the low 60s. And as we were spraying, the paint was just turning into like a thick gel. It would not dry at all. So the outside of the stencil got coated in this like jelly paint grossness, and we could not get it off. I tried wiping it with lacquer thinner, and it was even a bigger mess than I really signed up for. So we are scrapping the whole idea of using the Mylar stencils that you hold up on the side of the boat. I've got a whole nother idea. We're going to have to take the boat into a shop where it's going to be nice and warm overnight so that I can go ahead and get this stupid thing painted, because I am ready to build the motor. Like, I'm so excited. I'm ready for it. Like, I want to start right now. But we got to get the boat paint done first. After we finish the boat paint video, hopefully I'll have it up here in a couple weeks. We're going to move into the slick bottom coating that's going on the bottom of the boat, and then it will be motor time. Big thank you to everybody who's been following along with Project Bottomland Bateau. I really, really appreciate all you guys' support and the comments people have been sending along the way. So if you watched our video about our channel update not too long ago, you know that we have a John Boat channel that's going to be coming very, very soon. I am still working on the editing for it. I've got a few more things to finish up, but we now have a total of 3 project boats that are going to be going on that channel to start up with. We'll have Project Bottomland Bateau, and I've got 2 brand new ones that you guys haven't seen yet. So I promise that content is coming very, very soon. I know a lot of you guys are really into the John Boat stuff and you want to see those videos, so I'm working on it for you. I promise. Just bear with me. So I hope that everyone enjoyed today's video on prepping a John Boat for paint. If you got questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Give us a big thumbs up if you like what you saw today. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks again to everyone for watching. Let's roll the bloopers.
Here's what I'm going to do to test out these paint strippers. We're going to strip.
I like the Tractor Supply Ultra Fine. I think it's called Ultra Fine. I'm Ultra Fine. Yeah.
Dust and dirt and like pine straw from falling out of the sky. Well, it's not going to just fall out of the sky randomly. Oh my God. I don't know what kind of paint is on this boat, so that kind of leaves a mystery right there. Otherwise, I would just use whatever it is that's that would take the paint off, because that would be the smart thing to do. And microphone not even pointed in the right direction. There we go. That brought us to plan B, which was what was the night before Christmas. This video, hitting that subscribe. Really? Every time. It never fails. I hit that record button and someone calls me. Hello. The last one over here is, what is this crap called? Citrus strip. I don't know. Pounds of media. I'm not supposed to say, I'm almost done what I say,